Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Uncommon Wealth Podcast, where I'm your host, Phillip Ramsey. Today we have Cody Kowalski in studio.
That's right.
All right, dude. And the reason why we wanted him is because he's our intern for the summer. Uncommon Wealth's first intern ever. And it's Cody. And so I thought it would be fun just to be able to shoot a podcast. One, why did he choose Uncommon Wealth? Let's start there. And then what he's excited about for the summer, how long he's going to be here, kind of what his core job description are. And then we're going to have another podcast at the end of this. So in 2 months, 10 weeks-ish, we're going to have another podcast. What did he learn? What are things that we are horrible at? You know, things like that. So you guys get a behind the scenes of what Cody does, Uncommon Wealth from, I said, maybe for an intern's perspective. Could be kind of fun. So Cody, welcome to the show.
Hello. So...
where do you start? I'll start here.
Okay.
Cody just got married 10 days ago. Went on his honeymoon, came back, and his first day was Uncommon Wealth Partners, which was yesterday.
Yep.
We're currently shooting this at the end of May. It's May 28th currently. But he got married, what was the date?
May 18th.
May 18th, 10 days ago, literally.
In Iowa.
It
was great.
Married to the love of his life.
Yep. Let's go.
You know?
Yep. Went to California on the honeymoon.
Yep.
Went to Big Sur, Yosemite, flew back. Here I am.
Dana, we're glad you're on the trip with us. And she gets to be the one who talks about all this stuff when you get home. So that's his wife's name, Dana. I'm sure we're going to be able to reference her at some point. But let's go back to how did we meet? Let's go there. How did we meet?
So we met, we met at an FP&A conference.
FPA, yeah.
And I saw FPA, and I think I Googled like Uncommon Wealth or something, and I discovered your podcast, and I started listening to it, and I was like, in the internship search, I was like, this guy is like, he's a Christian. Yeah. And so I started learning about him and his Christian background and how he runs his practice. I was like, this guy would be sweet to intern for. Yeah. Started listening to a bunch of the podcasts and the videos, and then I actually saw one of them that I really liked, which was about like, I think Brandon McNace and something like that. Yeah, that whole thing. That was really cool. But that's how we originally met. So then saw the podcast, and we met in person, got coffee, and then he thought I was just like some random guy. And then I was like, no, I actually really like what you're doing, and I like this and that. And then talking about internships, so I told him I had an offer, and he's like, I might give you an offer. And right there. Yeah,
there we are. I remember where we were at the FPA meeting. We were at a vendor's like little table. Like vendors come at this FPA, it's Financial Planners Association, and we were at a vendor table. And this specific vendor, I knew that he had a bout with cancer. Like that was kind of like a specific thing. And I remember like, hey, how are you doing? His name is Keith. I was like, how are you doing? How's the cancer thing? Like, I've been praying for you. And I remember you were right there, and you're like, really? Like that was kind of the impetus of like, oh, that's interesting. And I think that's when you got to Google me, and that was where we're at. So what's your current major at Iowa? He's an Iowa State student.
Yep.
You're a junior.
Yep. Well, I'm going to be a senior.
You're going to be a senior. Oh yeah. You're done with your junior year. You're going to be a senior.
That's right.
What's your major?
It's finance and financial planning.
Yeah.
Minor's financial planning.
It's a good fit, right?
It is.
But I would say this, that the reason why I liked you, one, we hit it off at the coffee shop. I totally agree with that. The other is you also have a passion to do ministry.
Yes.
So this internship is like, do I want to do financial advising, or do I want to go into the ministry route? And I would say for now, or currently, you're still like, I don't know what God has for me, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a really good opportunity to, one, pour into Cody, and then you to be able to see kind of behind the scenes of financial planning. What does it entail? But also, so you did have an internship at another bigger organization.
Yep.
And I didn't feel like, one, I feel like Uncommon Wealth is its own diamond in the rough. Like we practice way differently. So it's almost like a ministry. Like there's times in financial planning in all places, and all financial advisors have to jump into the trenches.
Yep.
But we do things at a little bit different level, which I feel like is really helpful to have a genuine heart to minister to people.
Yep.
And then also help them with their finances.
Yep.
It's kind of where the two collide a little bit. And so when I saw that and I saw your heart and your passion to be able to serve other people, I thought this could be an actually really cool partnership that we could help you. You can have an idea of what this does or how we practice uncommonly. And then we could see if this is a good fit or not.
Yeah.
So
sweet.
So Dana, you've been married. Now you come back. Yesterday was his first day.
Yes.
And it seems like it went really well because
really
your conversation with Dina seems like it went a long time.
Yeah, it did.
Didn't have much time to sleep because they're just excited about their life. And we all have been there. Don't you love it? So you have your whole life ahead of you. What do you feel like you were most excited about between Uncommon Wealth and this other company that you guys were kind of talking through? Because Dana's part of the family now. So trying to figure out which one to
go with. Yeah. So with Uncommon Wealth, so it's going to be fun. I haven't actually got to sit in on any planning meetings, any actual client meetings like in person yet.
Yep.
Or virtually. So, but even just hearing from the podcast, hearing about your interesting approach to want to not only financially plan for someone, but learn what makes their heart beat, what they enjoy doing, and to get them doing a job that isn't, necessarily just to get paid, but something that they love to do and they actually don't even want to retire from.
That's right.
I was like, that's something I've never heard of. And if I want to be a financial planner, I don't want to do normal financial planning and just, say work with uber rich folks and that's great. And I also want to help with that, but I also that specific niche to be able to go directly and to figure out what people love and almost prospect at their life and be like, you're really good at this. How can we get you doing this and make money doing it? What's your baseline? I was like, that's something I've never heard of. And I was like, let's just do it. Let's figure it out. And
it's cool.
That's kind of how I ended up picking. I also like the idea that Phillip has that Christian background. And because he does it, like the other company was more, I would have, it just didn't have that same background. But
we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I feel like you could come and play JUCO and you could start.
Yeah.
Or you could go to a big team. Yeah, you can have great practices, but basically you're going to be on the bench when it comes to like real life stuff. Like this the possibilities are endless here at Uncommon Wealth to not only sit in on the meetings, because I feel like our clients would love to have you part of that, but also then take on some responsibilities that maybe you wouldn't have at other places.
Exactly.
So I'm super excited about that. So tell us what does like the outline of your responsibilities look like here at Uncommon Wealth? What is like your big things that you're going to help us with that helped us over the next 10 weeks? And then what are your kind of current roles on a day to day? Now, again, this is your second day. So for you to be able to answer all this, you probably don't know. But hit me.
So big roles. As a company, Phillip wants to implement a one-page financial plan. My job is to, learn what is it going to look like? How are we going to specifically, format it? And then once you figure out what are we going to do, then he wants me to then take that one-page financial plan and then be able to create one for the clients that he already has. So that's one big project that we were reading a book about and he thought would be really helpful. The other one is create an entire marketing calendar to be able to find different areas and different times to add value for clients. And so different quarterly value ads and then trying to move more towards more of a surge client set schedule where you have two different times where you really specifically nailing times to meet with clients, then you can have more time to be efficient and have more freed up time to then build a business and find different ways to grow the company.
It's good. I couldn't have explained it any better. So those are your big rocks. And then just the day-to-day stuff, like trying to understand, like, how do you open up an account? Like, what is it what do we do on a day-to-day basis when we're not sitting in front of clients? How do you do trades for somebody? And take phone calls and things like that. Even prospect, I think it's going to be huge for you. You're going to be great at that. But yeah, I would say those are the biggest rocks. And then just being in meetings, be able to see like the flow of meetings, the onboarding process, how we onboard people, how we do like a plan reveal, talking through that and kind of see the client's eyes kind of light up. Because as you said, kind of the intro is we do different types of planning. And what we usually try to do when we sit down and try to get people's numbers is not just try to do this transactional, what's in your account, but more of what are the goals that get you excited? And not like, well, we want to buy a car in 10 or in 5 years, whatever it is. It's more like how has God uniquely gifted you? And what is it that we can take steps towards in order to get you to that place where you can really dive in on that gifting and then be able to do that, and serve God's people that way. That's a long story. So, okay. So Dana is currently doing what?
She is working at Child Serve.
Okay.
In a week. And so it's kind of a good resume builder and a good opportunity to see if moving towards occupational therapy or a ministry or a counseling setting, just trying to get more clarity with that.
Right. So we are going to change the podcast schedule in order for this to come out soon.
Okay.
And then we're going to have another podcast at the end, like middle of August, and it's going to be basically the same questions that we just asked now. Yep. So my question to you is, where do you see your life in 5 years?
Gosh, that's a good question. In what specific way? In everything?
Yeah. Marriage, career.
So I'm 21 right now. In 5 years, I'm going to be 26.
Yep. Does that sound old to you?
It kind of does.
Yeah, I get it.
It does. We might have a child by then in 5 years.
I think you're probably right.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So we'll have a child. We'll be, hopefully by then, if we're having a kid, moving into a new home.
Yeah.
I'll have more clarity. Either I'll be doing financial planning or I'll be pursuing pastoral ministry.
Yep.
Dana will either be doing one of the three things I said earlier, counseling, occupational therapy, or ministry as well. I mean, I could be working for Phillip. I could be working for a different financial planning firm. I could be working for Cornerstone and doing a salt company pastoral trip to a different place to plant a salt company.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things.
I know.
And it's up there. But I think the big one is, probably going to have a child. Probably going to have a home. So I think those are some of the big ones.
More responsibility.
Yeah. Where do I see myself in 5 years? For sure. Probably still in, I love Iowa. I love the people here.
Good.
And I specifically want to stay closer to like my mom and my parents for at least a little while. And then eventually I might go a little bit further if there's a door there and it feels right. But I love it here.
It's fun to be able to see your life and where you're at, right? Because we've all been there. Yep. Many of us were just newly married, have our whole life ahead of us. Again, you're going to be your senior at Iowa State, and just thinking about how fun it is just to be able to plan and do those things. And so, my question for you is, as you have your whole life ahead of you, right? You're almost done with your academia. What is the most I'm not saying scared, concerning, or things that are like, ooh, that's interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Or things that you're thinking about at night. Like, what do you think about at night? Do you stress out about things?
Do I stress out about things? Honestly, I feel there's been moments of that, but I feel after getting married and having such a big rock, one of my friends asked me this. He's like, do you think your life is going to be more complicated or less complicated when you're married? And everyone would have thought I would say more complicated, but I was like, actually, I don't know. I feel more simpler a little bit because I have this huge rock and even just the clarity of she's the number 2 person in my life after Jesus.
That's right.
To love. And so there's a lot of clarity there. And just having wow, I'm with this person forever, and having just okay, we're gonna have some year, we're gonna grow, we're gonna learn together. So there's a lot of clarity there. So with that, and then also between financial planning and pastoral ministry, both I would love to do, and they're both things I would really enjoy to do. And so I'm not really stressing about that. It's not like I'm just I'm clueless.
It's good.
But they're both things I'd absolutely love to do. So I feel like in this season, I'm not stressing as much. I mean, I just got out of wedding planning. I was sitting holy smokes. We were arguing a little bit more, and life's hard, and there's conflict and stress. It's whoa.
Now that's behind you.
I got out of there, and I'm we got married. We went on our amazing honeymoon, and here we are. So I'm not stressed about a whole bunch right now.
It's good, man.
It's a good little season.
I know.
It's a really good season.
It is. And that's honestly I was hoping you were going to answer that way, right? You don't really have a lot of cares right now. And that's what I think when I look at you, I'm just those were great days. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm grateful that you chose Uncommon Wealth for your internship. I think we're going to benefit immensely. We already have. It's been a day. And I think that it's going to be beneficial to you. But so you're making an impact, not only in my life, but our client's life. And so thank you for that. So this has been just kind of a brief introduction to Cody. I'm sure a lot of our listeners and our clients are going to get more time with you. But anything else you want to end the podcast with before we close out?
I can't think of anything specifically.
That's okay. That's good. Okay. So you've been listening to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. I've been your host, Phillip Ramsey. And then Cody, our new intern. We're super grateful to have you and excited to see what these next 10 weeks will do. Until next time, go be uncommon. Thanks for listening.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.